Hi guys, welcome back to my channel English with Bhavana. So I hope you all are doing well, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, do subscribe it, okay? And today we are back with another chapter from book Flamingo, Class 12, Cbse NCRT, The Rattrap. So let's understand this chapter, and this chapter is really a beautiful lesson which you all will enjoy it if you have understood thoroughly. So let's get started. Now, first of all, who is the author? Selma Lagerlöf, okay, was a Swedish writer whose stories have been translated into many languages. So nothing but it's something about a writer. Okay, now let's move forward. We begin with the chapter while reading one paragraph and understanding in detail. Now, first of all, once upon a time there was a man who went around selling small rat traps. Of what? Wire. He made himself at odd moments. Odd means strange. Matlab, there was no fixed time for him. Okay. From the material he got by begging in the stores or at the big farms. But even so, the business was not especially profitable, so he had to resort to both begging and petty thievery to keep body and soul together. Even so, his clothes were in rags, his cheeks were sunken, and hunger gleamed in his eyes. Now, what this paragraph means? There was a man, okay, who went around selling small rat traps of fire. Now, what he has to do is he has to make all such things by himself, okay. Now, what is the first of all meaning of rat trap? You might be knowing चूहे पकड़ने का एक trap आता है, that is known as rat trap, okay. Now, what he used to do is he used to collect it from where he used to collect the materials. He used to get it, or he used to beg for it from the factories, shops, and all that. Okay, and he used to make all this when during odd times. It was not fixed when he's making. It was an odd time. Okay, now what he has to do, obviously, to this line, what does it mean? To keep body and soul together means what? To be alive, you need to have food, right? So that's what it means, that to keep your body and soul together means to eat. He used to beg as well at times because that business was not at all profitable. So he was not able to earn, and barely he was able to fulfill his hunger as well. No one can imagine how sad and monotonous life can appear to such a vagabond. Vagabond means what? A wanderer, the person who is wandering. Who plods along the roads means slow walking. Left to his own meditations means thoughts. But one day this man had fallen into a line of thought, which really seemed to him entertaining. He had naturally been thinking of his rat traps when suddenly he was struck by the idea that the whole world about him, the whole world with its lands and sea, its cities and villages, was nothing but a big rat trap. It had never existed for any other purpose than to set baits for people. Now, what is he saying? One day, what happened? Now, he was just wondering, and he was really bored by his, regular work, and he was really tired that he needs to beg every time, and he needs to work hard a lot, but still he's not getting enough food. He's unable to satisfy himself, and he was giving a thought like, what all is going on? And what he's saying that if I imagine, if I look around myself, if I look around people in the world, what are they doing? They are also running behind what? Behind their lands, cities, villages, means they have a lots of things. हम बोलते हैं ना, इंसान की इच्छाएं हैं जो खत्म नहीं होती कभी. That is also sort of rat trap for him, right? Because if we buy a house, we feel that we should have a car also. We wear a car, we feel that we should have a luxurious car more of. When we buy that, means which goes on and on and on. That is also one type of rat trap according to this person. Let's move further. It offered riches and joys, shelter and food, heat and clothing, exactly as Rattrap offered cheese and pork. As soon as anyone let himself to be tempted to touch the meat, it closed it on him, and then everything came to an end. Now, what does it mean? It offered rich. जो मतलब the people who are rich, who are blessed, it offers what? What does it offers? It offers food. It offers everything. Shelter है, तो obviously you get and during the winter season you get heat as well. You can also switch on the heater as well, right? That way, clothing and everything is there. Exactly, as a rat trap. Rat trap is a person, as I said you over here, the wanderer who is begging, who is going over here and there, right? As a rat trap, offer cheese and pork. Means what? The skin of the flesh of the skin, flesh of the pig we see, and cheese. In America, people, those who are, what do they give it to beggars? Cheese and pork. Okay. As soon as anyone let himself tempted, means attracted, you feel like tempted, okay, to touch the beat, it closed it on him. The door was closed on him. And then everything came to an end. The world had, of course, never been very kind to him. Obviously. Now what happens these days? If someone is coming to your house, the stranger, obviously no one opens the door all of a sudden and asks a glass of water or gives something to eat. What we do at times, कोई नहीं है घर पे, बंद कर दिया, ऐसे नहीं आने का घर पे, we close the door. That's what he's trying to say. So it gave him unwanted joy to think. Means what? Unveiling, unusual. He was feeling like very sad, depressed, like what is this? To think ill of it in its way. It became a cherished pastime. Means every time he used to think about this only and the pastime, a cherished pastime. The memories we cherish always for him, it was this. During my dreary ploddings, means what? Slow walking. Whenever he used to walk slowly, he used to think such things. Okay. To think of people he knew who had let themselves be caught in the dangerous snare. Means wrap. The means what? People are wrapped around their own thinking or for their own thoughts and wishes, like I should have 2 BHK, then 3 BHK, then house, then bungalow, all this that the person is telling now, and of others who were still circling around the beat. One dark evening, as he was struggling by the roadside, means along the road, he caught sight of a great cottage by the roadside and he knocked. Means what was happening now? He was just moving around the room. Moving around the road, and he was not understanding what to do. Obviously, he's a person who doesn't have a house, who doesn't have a shelter. He's wanderer, right? So he was not having a shelter as well. So he saw a little grey cottage by the roadside. So what he did is he knocked on the door to ask shelter for the night. He wanted to sleep over there. He needed a shelter for the night. Nor was he refused. He was not refused. Instead of sour faces which ordinarily met him, the owner, who was an old man without wife or a child, was happy to get someone to talk to his in loneliness. Means what? Whenever someone, nowadays, if you look anywhere, like if someone is coming and asking you to give you a shelter for a day, what kind of faces? Array, cute, this sour faces we give it, right? So that's what he's saying. It was strange for him. He didn't give a sour face. Instead of that, he welcomed him. He liked it that someone has come to his home. Someone has come and he welcomed him, as even he was feeling very lonely. He was not having his wife or a child at home. Okay, let's move further. So now what happens? Immediately he put the porridge pot on the fire. Means what he's trying, as we are giving someone has come into place, what do? We try to serve the hot food. Same he's doing over here. So porridge over here we can say as oatmeal dish, and apne liye in a simple language we say as khichdi. Okay, and give him supper. Supper is nothing but food. Whenever you are having a dinner early, that is known as supper. Then he craved up such a big slice from his tobacco roll, that it was enough both for stranger's pipe and his own. Means what? Cigarette. Okay, which is injurious to health. Finally, he got out an old pack of cards and played Jolas. Jolas is nothing but a card game. You can say as rummy as well for your better understanding. With his guest until bedtime. The old man was just as generous with his confidences as with his progress and tobacco. The guest was informed at the once that in his days of prosperity, अब क्या हो रहा है? जो old man है, he's telling what? He's trying to tell the stranger. We never tell it to stranger, right? We tell about our prosperity days, all our secrets, everything to the one whom we are close to or whom we know very well, right? But this old man is so generous, so innocent that he's not understanding, and he's telling everything to whom? He's telling everything to the stranger. About what? About his prosperity and all the other things which we will see further. Prosperity, his host, has been crofter at Ramsush are in work and had worked on the land. So what does it mean? He's saying about his good days, prosperity days. Crofter means what? A person who farms में work करता है, land पे and all that. Okay. Now that he was no longer able to do day labor, means what? He cannot work, labor work नहीं होता है अब. क्यों? Because he has grown old now. So that's what he's saying. Now what he is doing for his earning, how do he get his bread and butter? It was his cow which supported him. Yes, that bossy was extraordinary. Who is that bossy? The cow. Because the cow is giving a good milk to him, in short. She could give milk for the creamery. Creameries means what? A factory which is of cheese and butter. So what this old man is actually doing, he's telling he's the source of income, bread and butter. The cow gives a lot of milk, and that milk he sells where? In a creamery, and he earns from there. And last month, how much did he earn? He had received all of 30 kronar in payment. Kronar is nothing but Sweden currency. So he's saying that he earned 30 kronar. Now see how innocent, how generous this old man is. Let's move further. The stranger must have seemed incredulous, for the old man. So the stranger must have seemed incredulous, means what? Unwilling. Now, for what? For the old man got up. Now, as he saw that the other person, the stranger, is not willing to listen to him, not willing to trust him, what he did is he just got up, went to the window, took down a leather pouch, which hung on a nail. Nail means किल्ले पे मतलब लगाया हुआ था, hang किया हुआ था, in the very window frame, and picked out 3 wrinkled 10 kroner bills. Now he was proving that he had earned, and he was saying, ये देख मेरे 30 करोड़ जो बिल जो मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ मैंने अर्न किया है मेरे काव से, ये देख ये देख ये देख. He just showed it this way in front of his eyes, nodded, and just put it back in his pocket. Okay, leather pouch. This he held up before the eyes of his guest, nodding knowingly, and then stuffed them back into the pouch. The next day, both men got up in a good season. The crofter was in hurry. Who crofter? Old man. Was in hurry to milk his cow, and the other man probably thought he should not stay in bed. Why? Because when the head of the house has gotten up. Who is the head of the house? The old man. He is the stranger. So obviously he should feel that if the head of the house has gotten up, he needs to get up and he needs to go his way. They left the cottage at the same time. They means who? Both of them. The old man and the person who was a stranger. Okay. The crofter locked the door and put the key in his pocket. He took the key in his pocket. The owner, the old man. The man with the rat traps said goodbye and thank you, and thereupon each went on his way. So till here what happened is the old man and the person, the rat trap, the stranger who was being given shelter by the old man, they had a good time with each other, and as soon as early in the morning the crofter was ready, the old man was ready to go to his work, even the stranger woke up and they both went away on their each of their own way, and just the old man locked the door. So till now this is the story, right? Let's move further. But half an hour later, the rat trap peddler, the one who visited last night and they went off their way just before 30 minutes, that person said, stood again before the door. Why did he come? Let's see. He did not try to get in, however. He only went up to the window, smashed a pane, means window का जो gate होता है वो ऐसे टूटा, pane. Okay, stuck on his hand and got hold of the pouch. Which pouch? Which old man showed him last night about said him about his earning, saying ना देखिए मैंने earn किया that pouch. Okay, with 30 kroner. He took the money and thrust it into his own pocket. In short, क्या किया? चोरी किया. He just, it's a thief, right? He's a thief, obviously now. Now, then he hung the leather pouch very carefully back in its place and went away. As he walked along with the money in his pocket, he felt quite pleased with his smartness. कभी कभार लगता है ना बस अपन ही भगवान है, बस वही वाली बात. He was feeling that this is something smartness of him, and he was feeling very proud of himself that he was able to rob. Okay, he was able to वो चोरी करने में successful हुआ, and उसकी इतनी smartness थी कि पता भी नहीं चलेगा अभी. He realized, of course, that at the first he dared not continue on the public highway. Obviously he's the one who has actually robbed house, so he felt like I cannot take the public highway now, right? People might come behind him, there are chances, right? So what he did is, but must turn off the road into the woodsman's, he should go through the woodsman's what forest way, jungle. During the first hours this caused him no difficulty. Later in the day it became worse. For it was a big and confusing forest which he had gotten into. Means it was very confusing, it was quite big, and so he was not understanding where to go and where to come out of it. He tried to be sure to walk in a definite direction, in the right direction, but the paths twisted, means roads twisted back and forth. So strangely, means he tried a lot to find a way, but the roads were so twisted that he was not understanding where he is going. He walked and walked without coming to the end of the wood, means there was no end to the forest, and finally he realized that he had only been walking around the same part of the forest. And later on, finally he realized कि मैं एक ही जगह पे घूमे जा रहा हूँ बार बार. All at once he recalled his thoughts about the world and the rat trap. He was feeling and he was trying to recall his thoughts. Now his own turn had come. He had himself been fooled by a bit and had been caught. Now he's saying that I myself is fooled because he was unable to find any way, and he was thinking before that he is very smart, that he is able to rob, and his smartness has given him the money, right? So now he is feeling, now he has realized that he himself is a fool. The whole forest, with its trunks and branches, its thickets and falling logs, closed in upon him like an impenetrable prison for which he could never escape. मीन्स क्या हुआ ना, वो जो झाड़ ब्रांचेस वो सब थे, वो उसके आसपास ऐसे गिर रहे थे जैसे एक चोर के लिए, चोर को जैसे पुलिस पकड़ती है, लोग पकड़ते हैं, एंड वहां से भागना नामुमकिन है. सेम ही वाज फीलिंग इट राइट नाउ. So I hope you have understood till here. Let's move further. It was late in December. December, obviously, the winter season. Darkness was already descending over the dark forest. During the winter season, the evenings are shorter, the days are longer, right? So that's what. This increased danger. Obviously, darkness hai to danger बढ़ेगा. People will be able to find you more easily if they are trying to find in a group as well, and he's the one who is alone, so he was not understanding the danger was increased around his gloom and despair. Finally he saw no way out, means he was not understanding where to go out, and he snapped down on the ground, tried to death, thinking that his last moment had come. Now he was feeling, भाई अब तो मैं मर जाऊंगा, अब मेरे पास कोई ऑप्शन नहीं है. But just as he laid his head on down, मतलब ऐसे किया सर नीचे, क्या हुआ? He heard a sound, a hard regular thumping, means thumping, regular thumping. There was no doubt as to what that was. He understood. He could recollect. He raised himself. He raised his head. Those are the hammer strokes from an iron mill, he thought. Right? Hammer, hatoda. There must be people nearby. He summoned, means he called all his strength, gathered all his strength, got up, and strutted in what? In the direction of the sound. Means what? He started going in the direction of the sound. Now, the Ramsush iron works, which are now closed down. One not so long ago, a large plant with the smelter, rolling mill, and forge. Means what? Like as the old man also said you that it was very good. It was quite large, and it is closed down now. But it was not so small as well. It is mentioning over here. It has a smelter. Smelter means extracts we remove, right? Rolling mill, मतलब बड़ी बड़ी machines होती है ना, वो है, ठीक है? Then we say scores slide down the canal, which led to a large inland lake, and in the wintertime the roads near the mill were black from all the coal dust which shifted down from the big charcoal crates. What does it mean? अब जो फैक्ट्रीज होती है, फर्नेसेस एंड ऑल दैट होते हैं, धुआं निकलता है, राइट? बहुत सारे धुएं निकलते हैं उसमें से, मिल्स एंड ट्रेडमिल वगैरह, एंड वो दैट वहां पे क्या होता है, हम अभी इफ यू रिमेम्बर वी ट्राई टू इफ यू हैव सीन वी ट्राई टू मोल्ड इट विथ व्हाट, विथ फर्नेसेस एंड ऑल दैट. सो उसे हम जलाते हैं, लाइक विद वुडन स्टिक एंड ऑल दैट, वो मटेरियल को जलाते हैं, मेल्ट करते हैं. सो वो क्या होता है, उससे ऑब्वियसली सच फैक्ट्रीज व्हाट दे गिव आउट स्मोक, मतलब फायर जैसा बाहर आता है, राइट. एंड उस वजह से और अंधेरा अंधेरा और हालत खराब होती है आसपास के. Now, waiting for the pig iron, which had been put on the fire to be ready to put an anvil, means a big iron to be ready to put. Okay. Every now and then, one of them got up to stir the glowing mass with a long iron bar, written in a few moments, dripping with the. Now, what is happening over here? What situation he is trying to say it over here? Please understand. Factory है, factory में काम कर रहे हैं. One is the person head and one is the helper with him. अब वो ऐसी फैक्ट्री है जहां पे अपन को वो आयरन रॉड से बार बार हमें मटेरियल को वो जलाना है, मोल्ड करना है. सो एवरी मोमेंट at times he is getting up, the one who is the owner, and at times his assistant, the helper, is getting up. And due to this all hard work, what they are feeling, dripping. What is dripping? Continuous पसीना drip हो रहा है उनमें से, because obviously it's a heavy work and you are standing you know, you are working in front of the fire, so obviously you will feel hot and पसीना वसीना तो आएगा ही. That does it mean, nothing else. As was the custom, he wore nothing. कुछ नहीं पहना था. किसने? जो फैक्ट्री में वो काम कर रहा था. But a long shirt and a pair of wooden shoes. Why? Because it is a factory and where the fire and all is there, so you need to take lots of precautions. And so it's a custom that you need to wear a pair of wooden shoes and a long shirt, a cotton, so that you don't feel that hot, but obviously you will feel because it's a work search, right? Now let's see more. All the time there were many sounds to be heard in the forge. Means what? वहां पे बहुत सारी आवाजें आ रही थी आसपास. The big bellows groaned and burning coal cracked. The fireball shoveled charcoal into the maw of the furnace. Means what? He was putting it. Okay, and he was putting it and trying to mold it with a great deal of clatter. Outside roared the waterfall, मतलब बाहर क्या हो रहा था, and a sharp north wind whipped the rain against the bricked tile roof. It was probably on account of all this noise that the blacksmith is what? The person who was working over there in the factory did not notice that the man had opened the gate and entered the forge. मतलब कोई आया है उसके फैक्ट्री में. Okay? Until he stood close up to the furnace. अब क्या होता है ना, ये फैक्ट्री में हमेशा obviously if you know, like it's a winter, during the winter time it's quite cold, like most of the part of the world. So what happens now, the people who are begging, the people who are poor, they cannot have heater at their place, or they cannot stay, they don't have a shelter as well. Forget about the heater, they don't have shelter as well. So what did they do is, whenever they find a factory where such lights are there, where such lights are going on, so what do? They enter it and they try to sit near to the fire so that they don't feel too cold and they feel better. So that's what the people who are working in the factory, they, for them also it's very usual. That's not unusual to see a person entering into the factory during such days. So that's what it's mentioned over here. Surely it was nothing unusual for people, vagabonds, means what? The people who are wanderers, the beggars, without any better shelter for the night, to be attracted to the forge by the glow of light which escaped through the sooty panes, and to come into warm themselves in front of the fire. As I said you, वो लोग आते हैं आग के वहां पे, so that उनको गर्म फील हो, थोड़ा बहुत ठंड होती है. The blacksmith glanced मतलब देखा, only gradually, because for them it was really a normal thing, and indifferently at the intruder. He looked the way people of his type usually did, with a long braid, dirty, ragged, means what? He was say like a beggar who was not having a proper clothes, it was torn and all that, not clean at all, dirty and all that. He asked permission to stay. To whom? To blacksmith. And the master blacksmith nodded a okay. He said okay, fine, now you can say. He said okay. He gave a consent without honoring him with a single word. He didn't ask and he said okay, you can stay, nothing else. Let's move further. So today we will be doing this chapter till here only, and tomorrow, like obviously in my next video, we will be continuing with the chapter. I hope you have understood till here, and if you have any further doubts, anything left out from this part, please use the comment box so that I can clear your doubts first, and then we start with the next part of this chapter. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And please ask contacts to subscribe to my channel if you want me to come with the videos and you want me to stay motivated. So stay tuned, stay happy, keep soaring. English with Bhavana. Bye bye.